so much for joining me, and thank you for getting on. I'm Pamela Waldrop Shaw, and I'm ecstatic to share with you tonight. I'm energized by your goals, and I'm energized by the conversation about pre-goal setting. So welcome to Pre-Goal Setting 2019. This will be the entrance into our December 26th live goal setting session. So if somebody can give me a thumbs up that you can hear me, I'm going to keep going. Okay, sounds good. Thank you for that. So good evening. I'm Pamela Waldrop Shaw, and I'm coming to you live from Bowling Green, Kentucky. And I want to thank you for the privilege and the blessing of inviting me into your home, onto your phone, onto your laptop, into your living room for a quick refresher pre-goal setting workshop. It's an honor. It really is. You know, I learned a long time ago, if it doesn't bring me joy, earn money, contribute to my calling, allow me to serve and be philanthropic, I don't do it. And you know what? This allows me to serve in such a joy space that I cannot even tell you. So you already know from being on here and from taking the journey with me along the goal setting and design your life concept that this is not career specific. That there are those of you on here from businesses, you're on here as moms, you're on here as wives, you're on here as business owners, as employees, as church leaders, as civic leaders. And so again, I am honored. Welcome to Pre-Goal Setting 2019. It is a joy to be on with you tonight, and my prayer is that you will walk away with a great blessing and with great inspiration and step by step as to what you want and need to do next to make this your best year ever. Are we on the same page? Okay, first things first. Thank you for sharing your post. When you post or share something that you're doing with your tool, it blesses somebody else because you're using it in a way that gives somebody else a creative edge. We are absolutely better together. And so, Portia Franklin. Portia, is this the second one you've gotten for free? I think so. Email Nicole at PamelaShaw.pink, and she will get you the tool of your choice. When you post about any of the design tools that you use, just hashtag us. Tag me or use the hashtag Breakthrough Academy, hashtag Design Your Life, hashtag 90-Day Planner, and we will put you in a drawing and give away a free tool every single month. Okay, you guys, let's jump in. Let's jump in. Tonight's going to be beneficial for you, and I'm prepared, and I want to roll with it. If you think this is going to be beneficial to any of your friends, would you please hit that share button and share it with your Facebook friends, and maybe it will benefit and bless them as well. Okay, we're on a bridge. We're in that window of time between 2019 and 2020. We're ringing in a new year, but not only a new year, we're ringing in a new decade, 2020. 38 days between now and 2020. Oh, the importance of finishing well and the importance of starting well. One of the most important elements in doing that is respecting time. You know, the year 2000, when we crossed over to 2000, that was a significant year for me personally. Hard work, focused, intentional outcome that year. I can't say the same about 2010. But I want to say that plus more about 2020. How about you? Do you want to say that the year 2020 is one of your most significant years ever and that you can point to it as a turning point in your life? How big can you dream? How intentional can you become? You know, I believe that your next win, your next victory, where you are and what you would consider your next win or your next victory, it is one gritty, courageous action away from moving you into a new place. I believe that with all my heart. I believe that it takes grit and courage and boldness just a little bit beyond what you've been willing to do to get your next victory. So I am not sure where along my journey I started to realize that things sometimes take more time than I think they should. And along the way, I've also come to realize the process of accumulation. For those of us who intentionally invest in your time, the process of accumulation is your friend. But one thing I know for sure, the process of accumulation and grit along with that to go the distance is key. The absence of results for those who are stop, start, or haphazard with their sustained efforts over time. So let me ask you, let's just get real for a minute. Have you ever set a goal and you're like, yeah, this is the goal and this is the branding and I'm all in and I'm going for it. And then it doesn't happen as fast. And then so you start getting more quiet about it. And then you stay busy, but not after the goal. Have you ever done that? Hello, I have. I have done that. I have done that. And so the reality is that the process of accumulation with grit, with courage, with boldness, with intention, that's your friend. Most of you know that I am a widow. The love of my life, the amazing Jerry Shaw, passed away 13 years ago. This December 2nd, it's been 13 years. And Jerry did not win his battle with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. And after he passed, people would say really dumb things to me, like, "Are you going to stay in your house?" Okay. They would say things like, "Time heals all wounds," which, by the way, is not true. For those of you who have had illness or sickness or loss or death or grief of any sort, you know that although over time things can and do get better, time alone is no healer. To heal, to grow, to create change or increase, you have to be shaped and molded into a fresh version, reinvented in some way. I read a post this week of my friend Seth Sheldon's, and he quoted someone by the name of Darren Siao, S-I-A-O, Siao. Must be Italian, but it's a really cool last name. S-I-A-O, how would you say that? Siao. Anyway, this is the quote. "It's the parts of you desperate to learn, desperate to grow, desperate to climb out. So trust me when I say it's not time. It's you. It's you. You are the best thing, and you can't give up on yourself for how your heart may break or for how upside down your life may turn out to be." That's a partial quote. So here's the reality. Time does not heal all things, and time does not manifest all goals. The key is not time over time. This week I was lamenting in my quiet time over a concern that I have had heavy on my heart when I decided to go to last year's prayer journal to see if this was even on my radar a year ago. Was I concerned about this a year ago? Was I praying about this a year ago? Was this the same decision I had a year ago? And as I read through the pages of my journal in 2018, there was nothing on the topic that I was worried about today. Nothing. It was another topic. It was another lament. It was another concern that was heavy, but not this one. So I kept reading, and I had poured my heart out and my pleas to the Lord on the days of November 2018. I see today in 2019 how God answered the prayers of 2018. The situation that I was so concerned about in 2018, it's not even a situation now. God has redeemed it. Beauty for ashes, renovation, and that is how faith works. So my circumstances today can't determine my joy or my beliefs because I already know that based on my faith, God shows up. So trusting in God for a wildly increased outcome when circumstances are far from desirable. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this new year of your life? Once I had browsed through all of November, I started looking at all the goals that I'd set and what I had not accomplished. I'm serious. Yeah, I'm teaching you goal setting, and I'm also telling you that I didn't accomplish all mine. So I started going through my book, and I mean, I write in my book, I write in it, I tab it, I go back and I hit pages, I tab pages where God answered something really big. And that's what I love about journaling is that I get to go back and I stick things in here that are relevant. And you know, another list of men that I pray for, Farm 58 by name. And then, oh, this is good too. I stuck this in here. This might be beneficial to you. I believe the Lord wants to position us for the fulfillment of our tomorrows. And as John the Baptist ministry demonstrates in times of change and spiritual seasons, that he will reveal to us the obstacles that jeopardize our journey. Immediately after I received the revelation about the shifting of the season, I thought of this verse. Maybe this is relevant for you. The Lord restored the fortunes of Job when he prayed for his friends, and the Lord increased all that Job had. Job had gone through a season of testing, and in the end, God had him pray for his friends who'd mistreated him during the time of testing. It was only after Job prayed for and blessed his friends that he came into a double blessing. Job's prayer and blessing made a way for God to shift the season from testing to blessing. So in my prayer journal, I have all kinds of things, you know, the contemplative pages. And I started looking through here and I started realizing that I hadn't hit all my goals and that I had about 45 days left in the year and that there really wouldn't be time for me to hit them. So once I had browsed November, I started looking at them and realized what I had not accomplished. Now, let me be clear. I did also look at what I had accomplished, and what I did accomplish of goals that I set. It was significant, and I was happy about that. But there was much I did not. How about you? Are you documenting your year? Are you documenting in a prayer journal or in a spiral notebook or some other tool that you use, or one of my tools? Are you documenting so that you can look back? Because faith grows when you look back. When I went back all the way to 2018 to realize that what I'm worried about today, I was not worried about then. And what I was worried about then, I'm not worried about today. And worry is the wrong word. Lamenting, praying, lifting up. So as somebody who truly believes in the power of responsibility, of living my best life now, and somebody who wants to challenge you to believe in the responsibility of living your best life now, the most transparent version of myself, accountable with high-end friends whose voices and lives I respect greatly and who hold me accountable because I take the blessing of teaching you on these topics very seriously. I believe that I've got to live my life in a way that has credibility in order for me to even talk to you about these things. And so I look at the authenticity of this process. So I kept digging. I took a look at all the pages of my journal. I did an entire lesson on the power of journaling, which is stored on YouTube. It's called Journal Your Journey. In fact, if you want to find that, you can go back and just put in YouTube, Design Your Life, Pamela Shaw, all words, spaces in between. Design Your Life, Pamela Shaw, and then look for Journal Your Journey. But I went through page by page of the journal where I have repeated written goals. And then I went to my 4 90-day planners. I went through all 4 of them. I started flipping through them. I flipped through every single one. You know, I write them up. I mean, I mess them up. Mine are not neat. They are not grade worthy, but they are worked in. I went through all 4 to see how tenacious had I been this year about going after these goals. I went to the goal setting workbook where I did the initial work, and I wanted to read, you know, what did I in this book, was I honest in the beginning? Did I set the goals of my heart? Was I transparent? Did I pour my heart out when I started working through those questions? Did I take the time? And you know what? The answers were yes. Even though I hit some goals and have not hit all the goals, did I do the process? And so as I consider my thoughts and priorities that will set the stage for goal setting, what will stand the test of time? So in a nutshell, the goals I set that were the most meaningful to me are those to which I also added habits, key behaviors, and wrote them out weekly, daily, and I did the 7 days in between the work. The goals that I did not hit, my planning and pathways were not as clear given the same focus week in and week out. That's like, you took all this time to tell us that? Yes, because I want you to hit your goals this year. And I want you to be a goal setter that is completely after exactly what you want. We're going to talk about this on December 26th in depth, full blown, same time, 5 p.m. Central. So tonight, I want to continue to walk you through what the pre-work is going to look like so that come December 26th, you're going to be ready, equipped to set your goals and to launch into 2020 with a commitment to success like never before, because I'm going to be bringing it to you. This is the 3rd, it might be the 4th year in a row that I've done goal setting workshop, and it takes a minute. It's about 90 minutes of time. So you'll need to carve out a little bit of time for me after Christmas. You'll still be Christmas full and Christmas happy. So carve out that time. But I want to set the stage for you. It brings me joy. You know, one of the things that I am most filled up by throughout the year is when someone sends me a message, whether it's Facebook or a live call or a text or some sort of message behind the scenes of social media. How you've taken a tool or a concept that you've learned in the Design Your Life series and applied it to your life and where you are as a result of. It just is so encouraging to me, because it was a treadmill walk one day where I was feeling that anxiety, that tension in between, you know, Lord, I don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss my life. This is important. I feel like this. I feel like I'm at a turning point. I don't want to miss it. What is it? What is it that I need you to say to me? What is the direction? And it was on that treadmill walk when Thomas was just a toddler and I was a young bride, and I heard the Lord's voice, not audibly, but in my spirit. Design your life. Live your vision. I was like, yeah, but what is that? Design your life, live your vision. And there was just an impression that there's going to be a way that's more intentional that other people will not pay attention to, that I'm going to give you and for you to give to other people. Live it out, prove it authentically, and then share it with others. And that's exactly what I've done. And that's what I'm doing tonight. So in this pre-workshop, I want to set the stage for you to begin to think about what means the most to you as we take these last 38 days of 2019 and step into 2020. I'll tell you this, success requires a decision. It requires a decision from you as much as any other thing. You'll have to narrow the focus. You can't do everything well. You can't do all categories the best. If you set them all, you will do none. And so I often find that people don't set solid goals because they don't take the time to flesh it out, to separate, not this now, not this now, not that now, not that now, this now. This is my one thing. What do I really want? The most, that's going to require the most from me. If you give the most of yourself to one thing, one category, and you give it transparently, you give it unabashedly, you give it open-handed, the world knows about it. When you give yourself to that one thing, and then instead of stabbing at a wish list, if you let life come at you after you stab at a wish list, instead of scheduling your priorities, then the alternative to that is you prioritize everything that comes at you, and you still feel like, okay, well, I prioritized. So you don't prioritize everything. You don't put everything on your schedule and then prioritize. You only put your priorities on the schedule. Everything else stays off. That's what's going to be different about this year. What does that mean to you this year? What is that going to look like? Because when you put everything on your schedule and then you prioritize everything that's there, it doesn't create accomplishment. This is time management and yes and no management. Time management is prioritizing what you have, everything. Yes and no management is saying no to a lot so that you can say yes to the one thing that would mean the most to you. Now, that's not to say that, okay, if I really want, let's say, a career goal accomplishment, that does not mean that I'm saying no to my marriage or no to my health, but it is saying that it's no to everything else and no to other big goals so that I can put all in for this one thing. I find that most people never give enough grit, enough courage, enough oomph, enough commitment, enough intention to one thing long enough over and over and over again through disappointment, through setbacks, through rejection in order to get the result. But when you do, you will. What do I really want the most? So for those of you who've taken the 90-day planner journey with me for more than a minute, more than 190 days, you're pretty informed. You know the drill. This is a 23-year journal for me personally. It's a 23-year tool that I have used for over 23 years, 20 years published and copyrighted. It was birthed out of my own desperation to find the right planner that would help me to keep my goals, master task lists, vision boards, brain dump, affirmations, recalibration between each week, all in one place, not a natural strength that I own or owned. I knew the repetition of reciting a goal and tweaking the daily process, weekly reciting over and over again an expected outcome would create a minimum of 52 visits of my goal a year versus the 1 to 2. So if I'm flipping through my planner and at the end of every 7 days, I get the opportunity to recalibrate, go back and look at my goals. That's 52 times throughout the year that I have taken time, 52 weeks, 52 times that I've looked at my goals, reread my goals, revisited my goals, 52 versus New Year's Eve and again, the middle of the year, 52 times. So the brain, the literal science of epigenetics says that I am now more in tune, more aware, I'm oozing it, I'm thinking it, I'm talking it, I am attracting it because it is on my radar. That's the difference. The process works for those who work the process, and we're going to work the process tighter this year. And I'd like to do more lives. I'm going to do more lives just to encourage you and to answer questions along the way and that's why I wanted to do this tonight. So why a system of goal setting? Because, you already know when you work this system, you ask yourself often when you're looking back at your goals, does this bring me joy? Does this make me money? Is it in alignment with what I have said I want to accomplish and where I'm going in my life? Does this serve those that I lead? Does it elevate me in their lives? Does it elevate them? Does it elevate them in their calling? Is it in alignment with my faith? The identity that I see myself with as an authentic leader, does it line up? Without teaching the planner, of which there are free videos galore on PamelaShaw.pink, and also on the type bar search, you can enter Design Your Life Pamela Shaw, and all of those are free videos for you to look over and over and over again. So if this is beneficial to you and you think your friends or family would enjoy it, your Facebook, hit that share button and let them join in, and they'll be able to hear where we're going. Okay, so where do we start? Well, we are going to start your journey tonight in the same way that I started preparing for this pre-workshop. We start by looking back. Pam, you don't set goals looking back. You cannot drive forward looking in your rearview mirror. You got to look in the windshield. Yeah, that's true. And that's what we're going to do come December 26th. But right now, before we set any further goals, we're going to have to look back, because in order for us to move forward, we got to acknowledge, what goals did I set? What goals did I break down? What goals did I seriously commit to, or which ones were just little wish lists? So as I looked in my 4 planners and I looked in my prayer journal and I reviewed my goal setting workbook, was I in sync? So I'm asking you, wherever you wrote those goals out last time, and maybe you got the free download off of my website for the shortcut to goal setting, instead of going through the in-depth goal setting workshop with us, go back and look at that page. You can still download that off the site. It's free. It's just a shortcut to goal setting, and there are just some contemplative questions if you want to do it that way. But go back and look at how you came to the conclusion of the goals you were going to set. Look at your journals, look at your prayer journal, look at where you did your pre-work to set your goals, and ask yourself these questions. Was I clear? Was I in sync? Did I work the process? Go back and look at your planner, whether it's mine or someone else's. Go back and look at what you did throughout the year. Did I do the work required to grow? And then I have to do the work again. So we're going to start back all over again with those things, because I want you to be clear. I want you to be able to break down the process. I want your life to be in sync and in harmony with what you say you want and how you live your life, and the result you get by the end of a week, before you recalibrate and look at that space between 7 days and reevaluate and start a new week again. As you look at your goals 52 times a year in that process, I promise you, when you're clear and when you prioritize, you're going to get a different result. So I like clean pages, right? I like blank pages. And one of the reasons that I designed the planner 23 years ago is because I would always buy a new notebook to make a new list of the list of the list in the other notebook that I had. And I would get a new clean notebook to make a list of the list of the list. And I had taken all the planning courses in the world, Day Timer and Franklin Planner, and taken all the courses. I tried all the planners, and nothing worked the way that I wanted to, because I wanted to integrate goal setting, affirmations, master lists, brain dump, the space in between 7 days, go back and look at the goals. I wanted it all in one place. And I knew that success happens in 90 days. I knew that. Jerry and I years ago had done a fitness program with Bill Phillips, and his whole thing was about 90 days. It was called Body for Life. And they used to take pictures of their bathing suits and the newspaper at the side, 30, beginning, and then 90 days later, another picture. And I was like, yeah. So we did that together. And then after he passed, he had purchased P90X while he was sick, but he could not do it. And so P90X was sitting upstairs. I'm like, I'm going to do P90X. And so I plugged in the instructional video, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not going to do P90X. But I decided to take on the challenge. And I remember looking at one of the first things that looked so hard to me, and it's nothing. For those of you who work out, you'd be like, good grief. But I was intimidated by Superman banana, where you lay down and you do Superman, and then you roll over and you do like a pike and you do banana. I was like intimidated by Superman banana. I'm like, I can't do that. Like, I don't even know if I can roll over. Well, 45 days into P90X, I'm like, I think I see a bicep. And at the end of 90 days, I'm like, oh my gosh, is that like one ab? Do I have one ab? And that's been many years later. And, I'm happy with the results. That time over intention, over time, over process of accumulation has yielded in my body at my age. Time over time, not time. It wasn't just 13 years that passed. It's time plus intention. Are you with me? Time plus intention. Are you with me? Clarity, time plus intention. And that's where we're going to make it different this year. So I want to set you up for 2020. So for me, it's a fresh start that builds on the past year. So the first looking through your written goals, decide. Look at the goals that you have. What goal gets to stay? What goal gets to stay? You're not starting all over. You're not throwing out the baby with the bathwater. If you've got a goal that means something to you and you just didn't get it manifested in 2019, it gets to stay if it's still the desire of your heart. If it's prayed over, called, you know that it's yours. That goal gets to stay. What goal gets to stay for 2020? And what do I need to wipe off the table for right now? What was like, it sounded good, it was fine, but really, I'm not putting any energy into it. I am not gonna, it's not that important. I mean, it's important, but I'm not gonna renovate my life for it. What goes? And then what's the priority of these goals? So I will say here in the pre-goal setting workshop that I would pick maximum 3. 2 is better. 1 is best in terms of goal categories. Okay, so what are the goal categories? The goal categories are, they're listed in your 90-day planner, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 different categories: spiritual, physical and health, educational, career and leadership, family, personal, social, hobby. I lump all those together, and then financial. You're like, Pam, all of those are important. Yeah, of course they are. And success in one area bleeds over into success in another. But here's what I know that I know that I know. You cannot set goals in all of those categories because you will not have a focus on your priority number 1 thing. So 3 maximum, 2 is better, 1 is best. You're like, I don't want to have all those blank lines. I want to set 3. I understand, but I want you to win. I want you to win in your life, and I want you to win in your goal. And I believe with all my heart that 3 is the most you can add, and that 1 has got, that number 1 has to be very, very clear. Your success in one category will bleed over into another. Discipline in one area will invite discipline in another area. That's a truth. The way you're thinking about an outcome right this very minute has more to do with whether or not you will get that outcome. And I know what you're thinking. Well, I don't know what you're thinking. I can't possibly know what you're thinking, but I know what I've thought before. So I'm going to project a little bit of that on you because I think we're all more alike than different, right? So if I'm thinking about a goal, whether or not I bring that outcome, that goal into existence, the way I think about it is more key than the pathway to how I get it done. Okay, I want to say that again. The way I think about it is more critical than the pathway to how I get it done. Thinking is more important than the pathway. So if I'm thinking negatively or fearfully or doubtfully about the goals that I set, it doesn't matter what pathway I have, they're not going to unfold. But if the way I'm thinking about my goals is committed, clear, passionate, successful, aware of the timeline, then the pathway that I take is less relevant because my thinking is going to take me there on more than one pathway. It's the way you're thinking about it. So let's start with the truth. The new year is a new chapter of your life. Can we agree with that? I love fresh beginnings. I really do. I love waking up in the morning. I wake up every morning, sometime between 4:45 and 5:30. I love a fresh morning. I just do. I love waking up and like, yes, because when I wake up, I have this little thing that I do, which is say that I'm grateful for the day. This is the day the Lord has made. I'm going to rejoice and be glad in it. I am gratefully blessed to wake up, Lord, to the circumstances, surprises, and responsibilities that face me in this day. Thank you in advance and cover me for whatever's happening before my feet hit the floor. Just a little habit that I created that I really wanted to make happen, that I set it as an alarm. I set it first as a notification on my phone until now I just wake up and the first thing I think is, thank you. I mean, really, when we wake up in the morning, the first thing we should say is, thank you. Thank you, I woke up. It's another chance to get it right. Not, oh God, it's morning, but oh God, thank you for this morning, right? I'm going to challenge you with that first thing. Who's going to take me up on that? Who would like to have the habit of waking up and saying, thank you. I am grateful in advance for what's in front of me today. The responsibilities, the circumstances, and I have added, and the surprises, things that I don't even know are coming at me. Thank you in advance, because I know you got me covered. Who wants to make that a habit? Okay. So it's the way you're thinking about it. The new year is a new chapter of your life. If the chapter that you're in is boring or repetitive or not serving you well, or if it's lingering and it's like a boring ending and it's lingering, is there anything worse than a bad movie with an act that just keeps going on and on and on, and you're like, stop this scene, it's over. What can they not get about this? It is over, right? That's like us in our lives sometimes. So if we're in the middle of a chapter that's boring or it's lingering, for crying out loud, let's end the chapter and get on with a new one. Who wants to end the chapter? This one's over. Okay, so I'm going to say take 38 days and find a win. I'm going to say find a win. You know, a friend of mine shared this year with me, and I loved it because I look for a win in every day. What is my win today? What is my win today? My win today, I have a lot of wins in today. One is that I'm here, prepared, on time, ready to bring it to you. So I'm happy about that. I'm happy that I got up early, had an extended quiet time and church and the things that were important to me. I made a really nutritious lunch out of leftovers and fresh veggies that I had in my refrigerator. What else? You know, I'm looking for what my friend shared is she likes to track a win in the morning, a win at noon, and a win in the evening. A win in the morning, a win at noon, and a win in the evening. Look for wins in your day. Win, W-I-N. So let's end the chapter. Why do we set goals? What are we looking for? What are you looking for? Why do we set goals? What are you looking for? You got to know. You will not play hide and go seek and find that for which you are not looking. You may have a lot of answers, but it comes down to we are looking for. What are we looking for? You know what I think we're looking for? I think we're looking for peace around us and peace within us. And when we're not living to our full potential, and when we're not accomplishing what God has called us to, we don't have peace within us, and we don't find peace around us. Everybody around us makes us mad. Everybody around us ticks us off. Everything somebody says makes us irritated. Somebody else winning makes us even more irritated. Somebody else not miserable with us makes us even more irritated. That's not peace. So I think what we're looking for is peace. Peace of heart, peace of mind, peace around us, peace within us. Where do we get that? Well, of course, for those of you who, like me, have a strong faith that you stand on, a belief in the one true God, of course, peace comes from Him. But He doesn't promise us peace in the situations when we're either out of obedience or out of alignment or out of integrity. And I want that peace that's within. Do you? Do you want that peace that's within and the peace that's around? I think that comes from setting goals that align with your heart. So if you're a person of faith, you join me in knowing that joy and circumstances do not need to be in sync. The joy comes from knowing the one true God and His complete word to provide for us, to direct us, to protect us, and to be working in our best interest regardless of the circumstances. Our faith gives us an opportunity to deepen the understanding and practice of that. So if it isn't mood or feeling or time compounded of circumstances, then what is it? The best goals include becoming the person who could accomplish the goals of your heart. Say it again. The best goals include becoming the type of person who would accomplish the goals of your heart. See, it's not a matter of accomplishing the goal. It's a matter of becoming the type of person who could accomplish that goal. When you know identity, I'm the type of person that could get that goal. Or there's that goal. I don't see myself as a person who could get that goal. Then what we've got to go after is becoming the person who could own the goal. Are you with me? So back to the way you're thinking about it. When you consider or repeat a goal that you've set before, missed, repeated, missed, then the bottom line is you haven't yet become the person you believe can accomplish that goal. Because the minute you become him or her, you're in the process of doing the things, thinking the thoughts, executing the habits, adding the daily key behaviors that person who gets that outcome would be able to get. When you're doing those things, then your mind simply says, I'm becoming the person who can have that goal. Because if we see ourselves in some sort of lack, we won't do it. But when we're in the process of becoming the person who could accomplish that goal, then your belief changes because your identity changes, because you say things like, I'm in the process of, and you believe it. Because a person who lives this way in private is a person who achieves this way in public. Oh, I want to support you in getting this. It's about becoming that person. And guess what? It's not a renovation. You're already her. You're already him. You just need to tweak a few little things in your day. Habits, key behaviors, the clarity of the one thing, dump the other things, draw some boundaries, say no instead of yes. Those things will bring you into a person that you know is worthy of accomplishing the goal that you have already set. It's about becoming that person. When I set a goal and I think about it and all I see is lack, like I set a goal, I set a big goal. And then every time I say my affirmations, or every time I look at my goal board, or every time I go back in my 90-day planner, and 1 of the 52 times, 2 of 52, 3 of 52, 4 of 52, 5 of 52, I'm like, I don't have that. So what I see is lack. If I see lack every time I look at the goal, I'm not accomplishing it. It makes lack louder. Oh, this is good. I hope you're grabbing it. So a more realistic approach, a more realistic winning approach is that I am different. Not that the goal is bigger and that I can't get it, but that I am different. I am more courageous. I am grittier. I am more bold. I am putting it out there. I am doing the work. I am staying focused on the goal. I am staying focused on the details of the goal. I'm a bulldog not letting go of the goal. Yes, I said it again. Yes, I said it again. Yes, and I told you. And yes, I posted about it. And yes, I professed it. And yes, it's on my goal poster. And yes, that's who because I'm doing this behind the scenes. So now it's not a matter of lack. It's a matter of I am becoming. Does it feel lonely? Sometimes. Sometimes. You're going to have a partner. You're going to have a buddy. You're going to have somebody else who cares about your goal. You are. You are. But when you know, I am creating different habits. I am intentional every day, writing and rewriting that intent on every daily page, on every daily page, on every daily page. What is my top 3 focus today? What are my top 3 key behaviors today? Every day. What are my top 3 things today? What is my top key behavior today? In the frame of my day. When I do that every day, writing and rewriting that intent, building in habits and disciplines, thoughts and accountabilities that a person who gets that outcome would build, this is where time works for you. It's the process of accumulation. The accumulation of time because you've changed your behavior, your pattern, your words, your thoughts, your activities. You've said no to other things, and therefore your belief about the goal is no longer about lack. Your belief about the goal is I am closer and closer every day. I'm getting better and better every day. I'm closer and closer to owning that goal every single day. Most people are more interested in being right, defending their old choices and keeping their defaults, holding on to their old story, blaming somebody else, blaming the economy, blaming the country, pointing a finger at policy or temperature than they are just paying the price. I'm going to tell you something. You want to know a secret? It's easier to pay the price. It's just easier to pay the price. Instead of negotiating the price or blaming somebody else, it's just easier to pay the price. And I'm encouraging you today, for every goal and for each person, the price is different. But I believe with all my heart that you know the pathway and you know the price. It will include humility. Are you willing? It will include honesty, vulnerability, connection, accountability, community, an open door to change, a closed door to busy activities that are a distraction, a closed door to mindless TV, a closed door to mindless social media scrolling, a closed door to busy activities that are a distraction and are not creating growth towards your goal. There's something that I wrote down. I think I wrote it down in the back of my planner. If not, it's in my prayer journal. Must be in my prayer journal. Let me see. I want to read this to you. It's really, really good. Yep. Cynthia Yanoff who is from christianparenting.org, something that I grabbed of hers. Stop scrolling and start doing. Stop rushing and start enjoying. Stop looking back and start looking around. Stop lamenting and start thanking. Stop considering and start accomplishing. Stop worrying and start trusting. See, I believe that if we would start doing the things that we know would make a difference, and if we would stop doing the things that simply distract us from doing the things that we know we need to do. How many of you have a distracting habit? TV on in the background. Well, not at my house, but I'm just going to ask you to raise your hand. I don't. In fact, I'm so close to getting rid of all my cable. If it weren't for college football and Dancing with the Stars, I could get rid of it. Oh, so you think you could dance in Dancing with the Stars? And college football. That's it. That's really it. Those are the things that I enjoy watching, and I do enjoy some professional football. But news, no. It just gets in your brain. TV before bed, no. Reading before bed. How many of you distract yourself with TV in the background? Or a show, or a series, or a Netflix? Okay. Would you be willing to say no to that for a year? To invest your time differently? How many of you scroll unhealthily on social media? See, this feels hypocritical for me to even say, because you know what I do? I post and run. I post and run. Oh, come on, Pam, you look at some people's stuff. Yes, of course I do. Of course I do. But not in place of my quiet time, not in place of my workout, not in place of my income producing activities as a leader, not in place of. Yes, of course I look at other people's stuff. That would be crazy of me to say that I don't. But not scrolling. So how many of you scroll unhealthily, right? So what else do you do? What else is on your plate that is a distraction for you? So we're going to have accountability, community, an open door to change, a closed door to busy activities that are a distraction, that are not creating growth towards your goal. A goal accomplished must include measurable growth. Growth must include thinking differently. Excuses, oh, I love this. Excuses excuse you from making proper pivots, changes, connections, and accountability that will be required from you to successfully navigate goal accomplishment. Excuses excuse you from doing the things that are going to be the most important. So can I ask for a commitment? Is anybody willing to commit to thinking of your best, oldest, most worn out excuse that you're willing to get rid of? Would you share what it is? And would you commit to getting rid of it? What excuse have you used that takes either your leader or your mentor or your buddy or your accountability partner or your coach, and it's like this, it's like, don't say that, hand to the face. See, I can't coach somebody who does this to me, and I don't want to. So what is your excuse that keeps you at bay from your goal? You've got to acknowledge it. It is a pre-goal setting activity to moving into successful goal setting. Here's the truth, because the way you think about it matters. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Meaning, when I say something, it gets wired in my brain. Neurons that fire together, so what I'm saying right now, neurons are firing, they get wired together. I believe this stuff. I actually believe this. I actually live with this because I believe that it's true. So neurons that fire together, wire together. That means that my boldest statement, my grittiest, most courageous, what I'm going after, that I get an effect with that, because my neurons that fire together, they wire together. But the negative is also true. If I give an excuse, then neurons that fire together, wire together. This is true whether you're learning a skill, setting a new habit or behavior that's got to be sustained in order to see a result, or if it's simply emotional processing about something, whether it's dealing with a past regret or becoming less reactive in current triggered situations. The way to phase out old habits is in synaptic pruning. I like saying that. It sounds smart, and I'm not trying to sound like, oh, I know so much. I do love studying this stuff. But synaptic pruning, say it out loud, and you're going to feel like, oh, I like that. Synaptic pruning. Okay, did you say it out loud? So the way to phase out old habits is synaptic pruning. How many of you have like knockout roses or other kinds of trees or bushes or shrubs outside of your yard, or even just hydrangeas, and they all have to get pruned, right? This time of year they have to get pruned so that come spring they're fuller and they're more healthy, and they, and right now they look like, what did somebody do to my hydrangeas, because they were beautiful this summer and now they're like twigs. What happened? It's pruning. Well, your brain has to have the same thing happen in order for it to grow and to continue moving forward. Synaptic pruning. So the difference is, like in synaptic pruning, it's like plants versus seeds. So whatever you give attention to in your thinking with your time, it's like water and sunlight to a seed. So whatever you're giving attention to in your brain is like water and sunlight to the seed. So time and attention, it feeds it. Okay, synaptic pruning means that we can stop habits that don't serve us by looking at them as if the mind is like a garden. I don't know who said this, but it goes like this. Thoughts are like seeds. They grow flowers or weeds. So worry, it starts with a thought. This thought has no emotion until I assign worry to it. Dread. I think a thought. Dread. The thought is not dread until I assign dread to it. I think a thought. Negative. It's not going to happen. Okay? The thought itself was neither negative or positive until I assigned an emotion to it. Are you following me? So everything starts with a thought, and then I decide how to assign what emotion to it. There's no emotion to the thought until you assign an emotion to it. Worry, complaining, anger, it robs every area of your life. Your thoughts. Worry, it creates stress. Stress affects the immune system and it robs you of your health. Worry about a relationship can rob you of the potential to earn money. Worry about your career can rob you of a healthy relationship in your personal life. You can put complaining or anger in the same sentences. Unproductive, destructive emotions. So what do? You capture anger, worry, or complaining, and you replace it with another emotion. Gratitude. Gratitude. Worry, what am I grateful for? Angry, who am I grateful for? Complaining, what has gone right? What can I be thankful for? What is right? For whom am I appreciative? For what am I thankful? My journal, my prayer journal, is stacked with lists of gratitude, people, thankfulness. And then you ask a simple question. Here's the most important question after you capture the thought, you capture the negative emotion, you capture the unbelief, you capture the dread, you capture the worry, you capture the anger, you capture the resentment. You apply gratitude to it. What has this person done for me in the past? What has another person done for me in the past? What has another season given to me in the past? Then you ask this question. Ready? This is pre-goal setting 101. What can I do now? Worry, capture, gratitude. Here's what we normally do. Go back to worry. And that's not what we're going to do. We're not going to do that anymore. Pre-goal setting says, when I recognize an emotion that is negative and not serving me well, I capture it. I replace it with gratitude. And then I ask a question, and I'm going to encourage you to ask it open-handed. What can I do now? What can I do now? This puts you in a posture of receiving any kind of possibility, probability. What can I do now? And when you ask that question, it just takes a second to ask it. The power of now. Right now is what you have. How would the person I want to become, what would they do right now? What would the person that I want to become think right now? What would the person that I want to become say right now? What is the biggest opportunity I have in the next 5 minutes? Y'all went kind of quiet on me. Everybody good? It's an important question. Worry, doubt, dread, resentment, anger, complaining. Capture it. Gratitude. What can I do right now? What can I do in the next 5 minutes? What would the person I want to become do right now? What would she think right now? What would she say right now? What would she journal right now? Who would she call right now? Important questions. In the next 5 minutes, this is the Design Your Life process. If I've said anything that makes sense, something that you like, that you think your family and friends would like, I hope you'll share it to your Facebook page so that your friends can also learn. Constantly, as a person who says, I am becoming a person who deserves that outcome. I am becoming a person who can get that outcome. Constantly be looking for solutions, not, oh, I can't do that because. Look for solutions. When you think to yourself, I can't do that because, think, what's the solution? How can I do that? Versus regurgitating familiar excuses or disqualifications. How can I, instead of the default of I can't? How can I? What's a solution? If you're always looking for solutions, if you're always looking for a way to navigate. So here we go back to the person, go back to the process. Think a thought. It's negative. It's mean. It's doubtful, it's angry, it's worrisome, it's frustrated, it's disappointed. Capture it. Now what? Gratitude. Now what? What can I do now? What would a person that I want to become do next? What's my opportunity in the next 5 minutes? What is my opportunity in the next 5 minutes? You ask yourself that, and then instead of saying what can't be done or who's not following through, what can be done? What are my solutions? How can I, instead of the default of I can't? Because our thoughts and patterns create a level of energy that it repels or it attracts. Our thoughts create a level of energy that repel or that attract. We all vibe in energy. Now, I know this tiptoes on like new agey, and so I'm going to stay right in the middle of where I know that my body is made up of like 99% energy, and that God went, woof, here you go, and then whoop, conception, and that something so supernaturally scientific and godly beyond my ability to comprehend it created human life. I mean, that's what I understand, right? That's about I love saying words like epigenetics and synaptic pruning, and I love studying that, but in terms of understanding how it actually happened, oh no. No. So it's all about, I don't understand how a jet flies either, and I fly frequently. So it's all about a level of energy. And you go, well, what does that mean? You know, when you say that, it makes me uncomfortable. I mean that when you walk into a room, there's somebody in the room that's like, whoo, all the energy is like, wow, there's that person. You walk into a room and the room lights up because a person walks in. Have you ever been in a room and a person walks in and the room lights up? Like, wow, I guess she's here now. And not because she's sucking up air, but because the energy that she brought into the room was positive, and she's not sucking it all back. Now, you've got those people too. I'm talking about you're in a room, somebody walks in the room, and the room gets brighter. And it's not that they're taking all the attention. You can't help but notice them, but really what they're doing is that they're bringing a level of energy to the situation. They're bringing positivity. They're bringing encouragement. They're bringing in others' focus. They're noticing you. They're noticing the people around them. They have come to give to the situation. They walk into the room to give, not to take. Have you ever gotten the vibration of someone who walks in that way? Now, how about the reverse? Somebody who walks in and you're like, what happened to the room? Oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden you see the person who is sucking the life out of the room. She doesn't have to tell you about her drama because she's wearing it. And then as soon as she opens it up, as soon as she opens up her mouth, you actually like, oh, I want to get away. I want to get away. There's a level of energy that you're getting there. Has everybody had this experience on the positive and negative end? Have we all been the experience on the positive or negative end? I hope that more often I'm the experience of bringing the energy and bringing the vibe, and not to draw attention to myself, but to bring something to the room, to bring something to other people. That's the person I want to be. That's the thought that I'm thinking. And I hope that it starts to unfold naturally. But I also know that if I'm all wrapped up in my negative and all wrapped up in my worry, that when I walk into a room, that I'm sucking some of the energy out. So that's when I'm talking about energy. That's what I'm talking about moving forward. You all know that I'm a Christ follower, a born again believer. I worship the one true God. And I do believe that hands down, there is no other way. And so I just want to put that out there, because when I talk about things like energy, I don't want you to be confused about where my head is, because energy is science. In the energy, in the science of energy, it's calibrated from 1 to 1,000. Okay. Level energy of 1, level energy of 1,000. Anything below 200 is regarded as negative and destructive. Shame is 20. Guilt is 30. Apathy or indifference, 50. Grief, 75. Okay. I sat at 75 for a minute. 75. 1 to 1,000, 75. Fear, 100. Desire, 125. Anger, 150. Pride, 175. The lower levels are below 200. You know what starts at 200? Courage. Courage starts at 200. Willingness at 310. Acceptance of yourself and others at 350. Reason. Reason means I'm not sticking to my story and I'm going to be right. Reason means listening. Reason starts at 400. Love, 500. Love starts at 500. Courage at 200. Love at 500. Joy at 540. Is joy based on circumstances? No. The joy of the Lord is my strength. Joy, 540. Peace. Remember what I said we're after with our goals? Peace within, peace around. Peace vibes at 600. Whoo! Enlightenment, like, oh, light bulb, I got it. I got it. Are some of you vibing right now at a light bulb? Some of you getting it? I like your hearts. Thank you, because it's making me vibe higher. 700. Enlightenment at 700. And you know what? At 1,000, you want to know what 1,000 is? You're irresistible. Woo! At 1,000, you are irresistible. I mean, that's exciting, right? Because the good news is that innovation is birthed in the struggle. Innovation is birthed in the struggle. A person who calibrates at the 300 level can counterbalance 90,000 people. So if you just calibrate at 300, right around the courage level, you can counterbalance 90,000 other really depressed, angry, worrisome, resentful people and change the mood of a room. That's exciting to me. A person who calibrates at the 500 level can counterbalance 750,000 people. I live in a town of 38,000. So that's to say that if I chose to calibrate at the level of 500 in a state of love all the time, I could counterbalance my whole city if it was out of whack. That's crazy. That's how God built us so magnificently. We are so fearfully and wonderfully made if we just draw on it. So here's the thing. One trigger to go from low, shame, to high, irresistibility. Ready? Gratitude. Gratitude is the key from going low to high. Here's the truth, the law of entanglement. You and your city, wherever you are around the nation today, and me here in Bowling Green, the law of entanglement connects us. You at your best and me at my best makes me better in my part of the world, literally in the law of entanglement, because our lives are entangled. We were not meant to be alone. We are connected. And so the way that we treat each other as if we're connected, that we genuinely care about each other and call each other out in love and lift each other up in encouragement, it makes a difference. We affect each other in a positive way. So I want to bring up the conversation about a coach, being a coach, having a coach. You know, all great players have a coach, but players who value mediocrity over hard work don't need a coach. Players who don't respect the perspective of the coach can't benefit from being coached. Players who don't want to hear a correction can't be coached. So if I am in any of that, or I love my excuses and my defaults, or if I know it all, then needing a coach is not what's missing either. So I want to encourage you. There's a lot of work to do in the daily, but you know what? I'm not talking about a lot of work over a lot of time. I'm talking about a lot of work in one moment. I recognize worry, anger, resentment. I capture it. I create gratitude. What can I do right now? What can I do in the next 5 minutes? What would a person who I want to become do in the next 5 minutes? What's my opportunity of the next 5 minutes? How am I calibrating right now? I feel kind of so I'm going to change that right now. I'm going to go back to gratitude. Make a list of all the things and people that I'm happy or thankful for. Now go back to, do I have a coach? Has someone coached me to do something? Have I done it? because the perspective of the coach can't benefit from being coached. Players don't want to hear a correction can't be coached. So if I'm any of those things and I love my excuses or defaults more, or if I already know it all, then needing a coach is not something that you're missing either. So my workouts for the past 8 or 10 years have been with a coach. And you know what? I've had a lot of great coaches and I have loved them all. I've had all qualified, quality, committed, talented coaches in the gym, good ones. But no matter how good that coach is, the value to me is what I bring or don't bring to my workouts and to my coach. My coach can say, give me 10 pull-ups, and then 9, then 8, then 7, then 6, then 5, then 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. That's how we're going to finish the workout. I'm like, I can't do a pull-up. Or I can put a band on, and I can do as many pull-ups as I can do. And then when I am fatigued, I can put my knee in that band and keep doing them until I can't do them anymore. I can either do what the coach says and modify along the way until I can do pull-ups, which I can, by the way, because the first time a coach told me to do one, I tried and I kept and stayed at it. So you got to ask yourself today, are you the I can't version of your next step or the I can? When you're ready to stop blaming it on your DNA, I'm just not athletic enough to do a pull-up. That's not true. Your parents, your family history, your personal past, the worst things that have happened to you, and I do not undermine that we are all operating in some things that have happened that are bad, and some things that have happened that are hard, and some things that have happened that we have lost to grief or death or desertion. We have. That's not to undermine the significance of that, but we can't stay there. We can't live there. We can't live in that loss. When you're ready to stop blaming it on your DNA, your parents, your family, your personal past, or your zip code, excuses say, I give up before I try. I'm not willing to take responsibility to make the changes. Or the reverse is, I empower myself to get jump started. I reverse design my goal and I draw on the patterns and the lessons and the wisdom of people who have gone before me and who are willing to share with me what they've learned. Books, blogs, live Facebook Lives, recorded YouTubes, free lessons, trainings, recordings, access to other voices and other mentors. And I model from a determined state of mind the thinking and the actions of someone who has accomplished a goal before me. Because if they can make those changes, then I can make those changes. If they can capture those thoughts, I can capture those thoughts. If they can default to gratitude, I can find gratitude. If they can say, what am I going to do now? In the next 5 minutes, what's my opportunity? Then I can say that very same thing. And then what I do next is what matters most. Whether it's weight and health or business or relationships or money, somebody has successfully gone before you. Never has there been a day where there's more information more easily accessible to you for free than ever before. What I know is this: when the student is ready, the teacher appears. How would the person I wish to be, the person who can accomplish these goals, act today, right now? Then act like her. Think like her. Do the activities that she would do. Make the choices that she would make. Stop the default, interrupt the story, end the chapter, and start a new one. One of the women I mentor said this, and I love it. If I gave you the vision, why are you asking permission? She said God spoke to her heart. If I gave you the vision, why are you asking for permission? If I gave you the vision, why are you asking for permission? Author James Clear, who teaches on habits, says, if you want to take something more seriously, do it publicly. Let me tell you something. There are no undercover victories. There aren't. There are no undercover overcoming habits. There are no undercover overcoming goals. There are no undercover big accomplishments. If you want to accomplish something, put it out there. James Clear says, if you want to take something more seriously, do it publicly. And he continues by saying, publishing an article pressures you to think clearly. Competing in a race pressures you to train consistently. Presenting on any topic pressures you to learn it. I would add, starting a final outcome with a date in mind invites people to watch your commitment, overcoming addiction, or creating a health goal, or a business goal, or relationship goal, or a wealth goal. And he continues, social pressure forces you to up your game. I invite that pressure. It's why accountability is so loud and so important in what you do. Most failures, he continues, I'm still quoting James Clear, most failures are one-time costs. Most regrets are recurring costs. Ouch. Failures are one-time cost. Regrets are recurring cost. The pain of inaction stings longer than the pain of incorrect action. The pain of inaction, not doing anything, stings longer than the pain of incorrect action. In other words, just go do something towards your goal. Day in, day out, day in, day out. Process of accumulation, because it is not time that heals all things. It is not time that accomplishes all things. It is time plus intention over time and accumulation that accomplishes all things. End of his quotes. Well, that wasn't his quote, but the last of his quote was, pain of inaction stings longer than the pain of incorrect action. The process of accumulation is something I'm teaching you. I want to address a few of the downsides of goal setting, because I think we need to address them. I want to address the elephant in the room, or the thought that you have when you're alone and you think maybe you're the only person thinking it. Because there are some downsides to creating new habits. One is that we have an all or nothing mindset, and I'm very guilty of this. You know, it's all or nothing. I'm either all on keto or I'm not on keto at all, or I'm all on intermittent or I'm not at all, or I'm all in for my business goal or, you know, not at all. All or nothing. This used to be something that characterized me more, not so much anymore, but if you tend to have an all or nothing mindset, it can bring up critical and self-judgment thinking, which is followed by, why bother? You know, I just can't keep this up every day. I'm not going to do this book because I'm not going to write down my 3 things every day. Okay, stay the same. Okay. I am not going to do the space between 7 days. I got to go down and do the space between 7 days as soon as I end up here, or I don't. And what if I don't? Well, then I will miss one of the 52 opportunities I've had to grab as many of the accomplishments as I can between now and the 38 days that are left. What can I do differently in the 38 days that are left to take me closer to the goals that I set? Am I closer to the goals that I set if I don't do it? So you've got to ask yourself simply that self-judgment. If you say things like, I just can't keep this up every day, then you move into, I'm not enough. You know what? I'm not enough. I just don't have that. Discipline is just not in my top 5 strengths. Now, I know if you've heard me teach before, if you've heard me talk before, if you've heard me talk about strength finders before, for those of you who don't know, I'm going to ask a question. If you know the answer already, don't write it down. Don't blow it. For how many of you think that discipline is high in my strengths? Like if there are 34 of them, 1 through 34, the top 5 are your most prominent, your top 10 you can develop throughout your life. I think it said that below 17 you really shouldn't pay any attention to. So how many of you think discipline is a top one for me? Okay, well, nobody's even answering. Maybe you don't care. It's 24. It's 24. So is that to say that because discipline is not a strength of mine or a talent of mine, am I excused? Am I exempt? I'm just not disciplined, so therefore I'm not going to write anything down. I'm not going to do the space between 7 days. I'm not going to revisit am I exempt from not doing the work? No, I'm not. I'm not exempt. It makes it a little bit harder for me to tell you the truth. So I have to go after it. It doesn't matter whether I'm good at it or not. I can either ignore that, or I can say, okay, so it's not a strength. Guess what? I'm going to create a tool and make it my strength. That's what I'm going to do. Going to publish a tool. So are you willing? Are you willing? Because when you say something like, I can't keep this up every day, then you move to, I'm not enough. My setbacks at that point, they start to consume more of my time and more of my thinking than my wins do. And I start to think that I'm not enough or I can't ever accomplish this. And maybe I should rethink my goal or rethink my pathway, because I don't want to be comparing myself and feeling less than, because feeling bad feels awful. And so if I'm thinking I'm not enough and I can't do this, rather than focusing on how many days I did do it or follow through on good goals and good habits, that's the downside of setting goals. Because if we've made decisions about who we want to become and habits that we've got to sustain in order to live like that person, there is the possibility that we're going to have a setback. I've had setbacks. Did you have a setback in being the person you want to be last week or yesterday or 30 minutes ago? You know, setbacks can cause us to say terrible things to ourselves about ourselves. Who do you think you are? I mean, at this age, surely you didn't just do that. With all this experience and you teach other people, and surely you didn't just do that. Surely you didn't just think that. You must really totally be out of your lane. I'm just sharing a few of my thoughts. I hope that encourages you, because the enemy would love to get in there and dig you out and make you feel like you're not worthy and make you fearful and make you shameful, bring down your level of energy so that you can't attract other people, make you want to cower and hide and give up or go in a different direction. No, that is not who you are. That is not who you are, but it is the downside of setting habits. Because when you set goals, and I'll talk about this on December 26th, you're going to come behind them and you're going to create habits, and you're going to mess up and you're going to have a setback, and you're going to say something or do something that is not characteristic of yourself, and it's going to get you and it's going to eat at you, and you're going to have negative thoughts. When you have a negative thought, what do? You capture it. You replace it with gratitude. You give yourself some grace. You ask yourself a question. What do I do now? What's my opportunity in the next 5 minutes? What would the woman I want to become do, say right now? How would she react to the situation? You get over it and you move on. From this moment forward, I don't care if you messed up 30 minutes ago. I don't care if you said something horrible to yourself or to someone else earlier today or yesterday or last week. I don't care if you told a lie and then you had to come back and get clean with it. I don't care what it was. We are all human. I'm human. You're human. We're going to mess up. We're all a little bit on this side of messy. We're all just a little bit messy. We just are. Life is. All of us. Me, you, all of us. So when I mess up, I've got to be kind to myself. And when I mess up, you've got to show me grace. When you mess up, you've got to be kind to yourself. And I'm going to show you grace, because we are on a journey. And it's a part of the journey. It's the journey of moving forward. From this point moving forward, whether your Achilles heel is the habit of exaggeration, hiding out, gossiping, blaming, little white lies, reacting, overreacting, giving up, giving in, ignoring the obvious. We're all human. We're all flawed. We're a little messy at times. This is called humanity. I assure you that you're no worse than me or anyone else on this journey of growth. The winners in life will be those who grit it out and get back up and get in the game. So whether you've been all or nothing or off and on, or set your goal, then you haven't talked about it in a long, long time, or you're questioning, or even if you won't even set goals this year, I'm going to urge you to consider all the not feel good elements. Risk is not too great to overcome, and it's not worth not setting fresh goals. All the I don't feel good elements, the potential of I don't feel good, because you're going to have setbacks. The risk is not too great to overcome, and it's not worth not setting goals. But one thing I do, you ever heard this before? But one thing I do, forgetting what is behind. You're like, you told us to look back. Yes, I did. I want you to look back. I want you to look in your prayer journal. I want you to read through it. I want you to see where God showed up. I want you to look at the contemplative pages and see if you were honest. I want you to look in the back, anything else you put in there. I want you to do the same in your goal setting workbook or whatever tools you're working with. I want you to go back and look. But then when we start fresh, I want you to start here. But one thing I do, forgetting what's behind and straining towards what is ahead. Straining towards what is ahead. I press on to win the prize for which God has called me. We must be clear, but forgiving. Firm, but flexible. A lapse in habit or a setback in response or a moment out of who you really want to be, it's not a failure. It's a learning moment on your journey. Be kind to yourself and give grace to others. So what do you do between now and December 26th? Ready? You start with what? What do I really want? Of the categories that I can set goals in, what do I really want? Am I going to set my goals spiritual, physical health, educational, career leadership, family, personal, social, hobby, financial? What do I really want? What is the thing for me to invest myself in right now? And then move into why. Why is this important to me? When your what and your why are clear and they're in alignment, how? It's never the question. When your what and your why are in alignment and clear, how is never the question. You will find the people, you will find the process, you will find the platform, you will find everything that you need in the goal that you're pursuing when you take the time. It's a prayerful journey between now and December 26th to decide. Because in order to really grow, you've got to slow down to speed up. I think I first read this in the book, The One Thing. You've got to slow down to speed up. That's what the space between 7 days is all about. It's recalibrating in between. When you get to the end of 7 days, when you take the time to look at those 7 days and answer and ask questions and you reflect, and then you review, rewrite, reconsider, realign, roll over, reprioritize, redesign, and recommit. When you do those things in between and you take the time to slow down to speed up, you're going to be so much more clear than just going. Busy is different from productive. Busy and productive are not the same. It takes a minute. So the good news and bad news. Ready for the good news and bad news? Good news and bad news. We're going to give free shipping. Starting today, there's apply a code. It's all caps. Pink Friday. That's the code. I've never done free shipping. You know why? It's expensive. Shipping is really expensive. It is expensive. So here's the bad news. It won't ship until next Monday. I know. Nicole, beautiful Nicole, is on vacation. She's getting ready to graduate from college, and she's engaged to be married, and she's gone to Florida to see her family and with her fiance this weekend. So she will be gone the week of Thanksgiving. And so the good news is that free shipping. So whatever you want, as heavy as it is, it's going to be free. And then the bad news is it won't go out until Monday. But when it goes out Monday, we'll still get to you really, really fast, and we'll be here in plenty of time for you if you need a new tool or want a new tool. So I wanted to let you know that. But December 26th, come with your preliminary work done. Think through all the questions. If you want to get the free download instead of another tool that asks the goal setting questions or the goal setting workbook, go to PamelaShaw.pink and just download the free goal setting worksheet. It's similar, it's just a whole lot shorter. But do the preliminary work and ask yourself the questions as you set up the New Year goals, and so that you can be prepared. Think through which categories. What do I want? Why do I want it? And then go ahead and start working on breaking those goals down. And then I'm going to walk you through each step of the goal setting process. If you want to watch last year's goal setting workshop, it's 90 minutes on outcome, process, identity, and the importance of seeing yourself as a person who could have that goal. If you've got 90 minutes between now and then and some downtime of the holidays, it is sitting on PamelaShaw.pink, or if you type in YouTube, Design Your Life Pamela Shaw, all of those videos are also posted there. They're all free, and they're just a recap of what's going on here. So December 26th, come back with your preliminary work done, and we'll dive into goal setting and the process for keeping it alive and advancing in 2020. I love a fresh start. I love the start of a brand new decade, a clean like 2020. It's 2020. I remember when it was turning to 2000 and people thought the world was going to end. And for me, it was one of the best years of my life. And so 2010, I was in a struggle as a widow, single mom, and my son was in a struggle. And so I'm excited because today he is doing amazing, and I hit a new decade. And so therefore 2020 is going to be a great year for us all. And I want to give to you what I have learned on my journey. And I want to support you in goal setting in a way from a fresh perspective like you have never gotten it before. So I hope you got something tonight that causes you to think a different thought. It will give you an opportunity to make a decision and move in a different direction, a better direction. That you'll be kinder to yourself, but that you'll also hold yourself to the line, because there's the tension between being kind to yourself and being firm with yourself. Firm, but flexible. And so, happy Thanksgiving week. Have a beautiful time this week in Thanksgiving, whether you're in a small gathering, a traditional gathering, a large gathering, a different gathering, whatever it is that you're doing. I pray that God brings to you tremendous gratitude and thanksgiving as we celebrate this most special holiday in our country, and that you have a fantastic week ahead, and that you start to do the work, and that the things that come to you are just God-given and God-driven, and that you become confident in them. Clarity comes in the stillness, and so take some time to be still. God bless you. Godspeed, and keep shining brightly. I'll see you on December 26th.